Hello everybody, it's Sabre Wolf. Welcome back to the builds video. And Sabre, what are we doing in Guild Wars 2, you ask? Well, funny thing is, there are some builds in Guild Wars 2 that you kind of can build in Guild Wars 1. And one of my favorite ones is my Char Warrior Spellbreaker with dual wielding daggers. But what build in Guild Wars 1 would have that? Well, in Guild Wars 1, we could do a Warrior Assassin, but then energy management would be a problem. That's why we're going to take care of that problem with my favorite warrior skill in Guild Wars 1, and that is Warrior's Endurance. My most played profession between Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2 is probably Warrior and Guardian on top of that, so melee classes in general. And again, for Guild Wars 1, my favorite warrior skill is Warrior's Endurance, because I've never been big on the whole adrenaline gaining thing with a warrior. I kind of like just having consistent damage and constant energy regain and just having the skills available to me at the beginning of the fight instead of towards the end of the fight, which is why we're going to do a whole series on this skill right here. Now, how it works is every time you hit with an attack, you get 3 energy back. Well, most of your attacks cost 5 energy, so really you're only costing 2 energy in the end. And since you can on at least 13 strength, that takes a last 31 seconds on a 30-second recharge. You can upkeep this the entire time, so you're actually not gonna have to worry about running out of energy. And again, if you're low on energy, just hit a couple times with your weapons, or have a +1 energy gain when you hit with an attack with a weapon, and you'll get the energy back a little faster. Now we're going to go into our assassin chain. Now again, this is going to be a lead, offhand, and dual attack. That's because we basically chain attacks as assassin. And the 3 attacks we're going to have is Golden Fox Strike, Wild Strike, and Death Blossom. And first up, we're going to talk about Golden Fox Strike. Basically, plus 26 damage on attack, and if you're enchanted, attack's unblockable, which we don't have any enchantments on the bar, so maybe a party member will enchant us with us, and they'll help it with it, but we're just going for the damage right now. Again, 4-second recharge. Wild Strike up next, but that's your offhand attack that follows the lead attack. Now that does plus 30 damage to your attack, and it actually removes a stance on your target foe. And also, this attack can't be blocked at all. So if you're enchanted, the first 2 strikes you hit are unblockable. That's kind of cool. 4-second recharge on that as well. And last but not least, in the chain, we're going to have Death Blossom. That's a plus 40 on a hit, but does an extra 40 damage as a follow-up. So it's also kind of a double attack in a way. The cool thing about this one is it actually procs against all adjacent foes. So if you have 2 foes next to your main target, you're going to get that Warrior's Endurance proc on the first hit, but it's also going to proc on all the adjacent foe hits as well. So if there's 2 enemies next to your one target that you're fighting, you're actually going to proc 4 times on one attack that's only 5 energy. So that means you're going to have a net gain of 7 energy, and since it's only costing 2 energy every time you hit with a skill, you're basically going to have unlimited energy between all of these 3 skills, and you can upkeep this all day long, so long as there's, of course, 2 enemies next to your main target. Of course, you will eventually run out if you keep spamming it too much. Another attack we're going to put on the bar is Power Attack. Now, that's on a 3-second recharge. Bracker's going to lead with this one first. It does plus 38 damage on a hit. It only takes 3 seconds to recharge, so we're going to Power Attack, then Golden Fox Strike, Wild Strike, Death Blossom, Power Attack again, and the target's bar is going to be almost down to about a third of health remaining after the whole series. Now, we want to pick up the pace on this. We're also going to add Burst of Aggression to this. Now, Burst of Aggression's drawback is that when you use the skill, you lose all your adrenaline. But we're energy-based, so we don't have to worry about the adrenaline part, so we're good with that. It does last 9 seconds on a 12-second recharge, so there is a 3-second downtime, but we can knock out a target under 9 seconds. So we're not worried about that 3-second downtime. And last but not least, on the attack portion of the bar, we're going to use Distracting Blow. That's an interrupt. Again, we're going with that Spellbreaker vibe that we have in Guild Wars 2, bringing it to Guild Wars 1. Does a lot of interrupt stuff, so we're going to put Distracting Blow on the bar to basically get that vibe going. Last but not least, on the 8th slot, you gotta have a res. So obviously res signet or Sunspirit Rebirth signet and PvE. So either one's fine, depends on which realm you're playing this in. Now for attributes, we're going with 14 strength, and that's the max 12 plus 1 rune on the hands, because primary attribute. Oh, it goes on hands. And we're going to have that +1 on the helmet with a strength helmet as well. Most of the time, you're going to use a weapon, whatever weapon you use, on a headpiece. But since assassin daggers or assassin, not warrior weapon, we're going to have the +1 separately between the helmet and hands. For this, it's okay. Then we're going to have that 12 points in Dagger Mastery to maximize the damage output our daggers. And we have like 3 points left. We're going to throw it in Shadow Arts, just in case you want to mix in like a dash ability and or a Shadow Step into your target ability, which is always a thing too. So if you want to mix that into your bar, put 3 points in Shadow Arts because that'll help you out there. Well, that's enough going over the build portion. Let's dive into the game and see it at work. And we're on the island Nameless to talk about how the build works. So once again, we're talking about comboing skills one after another, and also upkeeping 2 particular skills all the time. So first of all, of course, you're going to keep up that Warrior's Endurance. It's lasts 33 seconds on a 30-second recharge, so we can upkeep that the entire time. That's how we're getting our energy on the bar. Then you got Burst of Aggression to speed up our attacks a little bit. Now, again, it lasts for 9 seconds on a 12-second recharge, so there is a 2 or 3 second cooldown in between uses, but generally our target's going to be down before we run out of it, so it's okay. We're okay with that. Now, we're actually going to attack first with that power attack because it's on a 3-second recharge. And by the time we get through our chain of the Golden Fox Strike into the Wild Strike into the Death Blossom, that power attack will be recharged again, and we'll be able to attack it on the end. So it's power attack, boom, 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 and 3 assassin skills, and then back into a power attack again. Again, if you want to use the interrupt, you got Distracting Blow, the res on the bar as well. If you want to, you can swap out Burst of Aggression with Frenzy, which is more upkeepable. But you're going to have to replace the res or the interrupt with a dash or sprint ability on your bar because you got to interrupt that extra damage going to yourself if you're going to get targeted. You got to cancel out of that, and then you can go back into the frenzy again once you start attacking again. But since we're going with the distracting part of it, use Burst of Aggression. If you don't want to distract or don't want to use a res, then you can do the Frenzy, Dash, or Sprint to break it up that way. So we're going to... and of course we got our dagger as well in our hand. We got the 14 strength and the 12 in daggers. And we'll see how this works out. So we're going to target this 80 suit of armor. First of all, we're going to have Warrior's Endurance up. Keep that up the entire time. Again, constantly recharge. It still up on a recharge. So we're going to walk into our target, hit the burst. Ready to switch targets there. Sorry about that. So we're going to walk up to our target, hit that Burst of Aggression, open up power attack, then 1, 2, triple attack assassin. There's that warrior skill back up again, and then we can go back in our combo again, and our target's down. So it did take the full rotation twice through in order to take the target down. That was the 80 armor. That's equal to a regular warrior's armor, just about. We'll do it one more time in the 60 armor. Let's go down a little bit faster here. So we're going to walk up, Burst Aggression. Here's a power attack. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back into power attack again. Get 1 hit in. Then we're going to do our combo again. So recharge and down. So we only got through the entire bar plus 2 more after that. And that took out the target way before our Burst of Aggression wore off. So that's under about, 6-7 seconds? Yeah, I did the 6-7. Sorry, guys. Anyways. So, once again, please try out this build. This is, again, one of the ones in a many in the series of Warrior's Endurance, which, again, is my personal favorite elite skill, most used elite skill in the game. We're talking about swords, axes, scythes even. Yeah, we're going to go Warrior Dervish here eventually. So, please check them all out. Once again, I'm Sabre Wolf. Thank you very much, and have a very good day. Bye-bye.